What's going on, you guys? Today we're learning the second solo to the iconic song Comfortably Numb by Pink Floyd. This is regarded as one of, if not the most legendary solos ever played on the electric guitar, and so I'm really stoked to show it to you. But real quick before we do get into that, a couple things I wanted to mention. The first of which being I did teach the first solo of this song in a different video, so if you want to check that out, you can do so up there. Now, second thing being, I'm also going to be playing the entire solo front to back, and that will be a video that's coming out next week. I didn't want to put it in this video for copyright and ad reasons, so be sure to check that out down in the description box below when you want to be able to play it along with this solo front to back. Now, without any further ado, let's get into it. You are watching Logan's Lessons. We're going to take the solo in chunks. The first chunk of this solo starts with our first finger on the 7th fret of the G string. We're going to give it a little pinch harmonic. Okay? Right after that, we are going to pick the 9th fret of the G string with our 3rd finger. After you pick that 9th fret of our G string with our 3rd finger, we are then going to pick it again, and this time we're going to bend it up a whole step. Give it a little vibrato once you get up there. So after you bend that 9th fret up a whole step, we then bend it up a whole step again. So you have, then you have another bend up to the full step on the 9th fret of the G. Then you pull off from that 9th fret down to the 7th fret of your G string. So you have a, then we hit the 9th fret of the D string. So you have, then right here we hammer on from the 7th fret up to the 9th fret of the G string. Okay? Hang there for a second, okay? Then after that, you then pull back off to the 7th fret of the G string, hit the 9th fret of the D, and then you bend up the 7th fret of your G. So you have this like, I'll do that slowly. Do that with me. One more time. Okay, very good. Then right there, this is kind of the second piece of the solo. We're going to slide up slowly up to the 11th fret of our G string. Okay? Then with our first finger, we're going to hit the 10th fret of the B. And you go between the two. So you have the 11th fret of your G, 10th fret of your B, 11th fret of the G, 10th fret of your B. Then you hit the 12th fret of your B string, and you bend that up a step and a half. Okay? You hit it once, and then you bend it up a step and a half, sorry. Then what we do is we hammer on from the 10th fret of our B string up to the 12th of our B, and then you hit the 10th fret of your high E, and you bend it up like a quarter step pretty quickly. Okay, so you have this like, do that with me. Very good. Now in context, do that with me one more time. Then right here, what we do is we hit the 7th fret of our G string to the 9th fret. And what we do is 7th fret, 9th fret, bend the 9th fret up, pull back off to the 7th fret, and then you hit the 9th fret of your D string twice. I'll do that slowly. Okay? In context. Okay? Then right here, we hit the 10th fret of our B string and we give it a little pitch squeal. Okay? And we pull off from that 10th fret down to the 9th fret of our B string, hit the 9th fret of our G, back up to the 7th fret of our B, back down to the 9th fret of the G. So then you pull off from the 9th fret of the G down to the 7th fret of the G, and then to the 9th fret of the D. Okay? Like that. Do that with me. Now in context. Then right here what we do is we hit the 9th fret of our A string to the 7th fret of the D string, which you hit twice. And then the 9th fret of the D to the 7th fret of the G. You give that a little bend. And then 9, 7, 9 on the D. And I'd really pull that off, and then you pick it again for the 9th fret. So pick the 9th fret, pull off to the 7th, hit the 9th fret one time. So you have... Okay, in context. Then right here's a really fun part. We bar across the 7th fret of the B and the high E strings with our index finger, and you pick the B and then the high E. And then with your third finger, you pick the 9th fret of the high E. Okay? And then you bend the 9th fret up. Okay? So in context, we have this. Right here we go from the 9th fret, or I'm sorry, the 7th fret of the high E to the 10th fret of the B, back up to the 7th fret of the high E, and then you bend the 10th fret of your B string up. So you have... Okay? Okay, so in context we have this. Then right there, you hit it again, bend down on the 10th fret of your B string, and then you hit the 7th fret of your B. And that gets us into like the next piece, which gets into like a faster bit. So that's kind of part A of the solo, if you will. I'm going to play it for you again. So like I mentioned, that's kind of part A of the solo. Now let's talk about part B. Part B starts with our third finger on the 9th fret of the G string. You bend that up a whole step, and then you bar your first finger across the 7th fret of the B and the high E strings. So, then right there we hit our pinky on the 10th fret of the B string to the 7th fret of the B string with our first finger. Then right there we hit the 9th fret, you hit it once, and then you bend it up. Hit the 7th fret of the G string. Okay, do that with me. Okay, do that with me. Then you hit the 9th fret of your D string to then back to the 9th fret of the G to the 7th fret of the G. Back to the 9th fret of the D to the 7th fret of the D. Okay? Do that with me. Then right here we walk down from the 9th fret of the A to the 8th fret of the A to the 7th fret of the A. slide down to the 5th fret to the 7th fret of the low E. So you have this. 7th fret of the low E. So then you hit the 5th fret of your A string one more time. Then right here we hit the 7th fret of the G 3 times. So we have this so far. Now in context that will sound like this. Do that with me. So then the second time through in the next run, right after what we just learned, we do most of it the same. It just changes at the end. We start with the same. All of that stays the same. Everything stays the same until you hit the 9th fret of your A string. Once you hit that 9th fret of your A string, you're actually going to hit the 9th fret again. And the second time, you're actually going to slide it down to the 7th fret. Okay? So we have. Then right here, we hammer on from the 5th up to the 7th fret of the A, and then pull back off to the 5th fret. Okay, so we have this. I'll do that again. Then we hit the 7th fret of the low E string, back to the 5th fret of the A. Okay. Hang there for a second, then you hit the 7th fret of your A string, and then you hit the 7th fret of the A string again, and this time you slide up to the 9th fret. So you have this. And then you hit the 7th fret of the D string 3 times. So you have this. So in combination with the first run that we learned, I'll do that slowly now. Do that with me. Now, in the context of the entire solo at large. Then right here, we pull off from the 9th fret of the D string to the 7th fret. Then we hit the 7th fret of the G. You bend it. Then right here, we pull off from the 9th fret of our D string to the 7th fret. Okay? Then right there, we hit the 7th fret of our G string and you bend that up. Then you hit the 9th fret of the D string again to the 7th fret of the G. Hit the 9th fret of the G string and you bend that up. So you have this. Do that with me. Then you bar again across the 7th fret of the B and the high E. So you have this. with your pinky finger, you hit the 10th fret of the B. Hit the 9th fret of the G string again. So you have a bend that 9th fret of your G string up, hit the 7th fret of your B string. So you have then the 7th fret of the G string. Hit the 9th fret of your G string one more time, and then pull off to the open string. Okay, so you have this like. I'll do that extremely slow. Now I'll do that in context. Do that with me now. Then right there, we have another similar run where we're going. All of that's the same as the first one, except you're going to go back to the 5th fret of your A string, and you're going to pull that off. Okay, so we have this like. And then right there, we're going to take our 3rd finger and bar across the 7th fret of the D, G, and B, and you're just going to strum like that. So you have this. Then right there, we slide from the 7th fret of our D string up to the 9th fret. Okay? So the entire solo so far will sound like this. So after that, we then strike down across the strings muted, and then with our first finger, we're going to bar across that same chord. It's a D major chord. It's across the 7th fret of the D, the G, and the B strings, and you're just going to strum up and hit that, like that. And then with our 3rd finger, we're going to slide up to the 12th fret of our B string. So you're just like. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just do the last run that we did into that part. That's the rhythm of it. It pauses there on the 9th fret of the D string for a little bit before you go into that. But then you do the same thing where you strike down and you hit that D major chord again. Then you hit the 9th fret of your D string. And then with your first finger barred across the G and the B, you hit the G and the B strings together and you bend it up a little bit. Okay, so you have this like, like that, okay? So I'm going to do that last run into that now. Then right here, you bend the 9th fret of your G string up, pull off to the 7th fret of your G, hit the 9th fret of your D, up to the 7th fret of your G, and then up to the 9th fret of your G again. So you have like this. And then right here, we hit the 9th fret of the G one more time, and you bend it up a whole step. Okay, so you have this like. Pause there for a second, and then you do the same thing that we did before, where you're going from the 7th fret of your high E to the 10th fret of your B, 7th fret of your high E to 10th fret of your B, but this time you bend it up. So that entire part B of the solo will sound like this. have one more run, and then again, it's pretty similar. We're starting the same here until there, where we go between the 9th fret of the D to the 7th fret of the D, actually twice. Okay, so you have this, it's just elongated a little bit. Like that. And right there, what we do is we then slide up from the 7th fret of our D string up to the 9th fret of the D. And then with our first finger barred across the 7th fret of the D and the G, we strum that. So, okay. Okay, do that with me. And then what you do there is you hit that D string on the 9th fret 3 more times, and then you hit the bar across the 7th fret of the D and the G twice more, or 1 more time. So you have, and then you strum down and you hit that 7th fret 1 more time on the up strum. Okay, so that run will sound like this. Then right there, what we do is we put our first finger on the 7th fret of the D. You hang there for a second. Then you hit the 9th fret of the D. Then right there, what we do is we hammer on up to the 9th fret of the G. So we have this. So then we hit the 7th fret of the D string with our first finger up to then the 9th fret of the D string. So you hang on the 7th fret for a little while though. You then hit the 9th fret of the D. Then what we do is we hammer on from the 7th fret up to the 9th fret on the G string. Then you pull off to the open string, and then you hang on the 9th fret. Okay, so we have this like. Do that with me. Then right there, what we do is we have a new motif where we're going from the 7th fret up to the 9th fret on our D string, pulling back off to the 7th fret to the 9th fret of the A string. So, okay? And then right there, we hit the 7th fret of our G string. And then what we do is we do that same like little motif, but this time we're gonna hit the 7th fret of the D string. So. And it kind of goes back and forth like that. So we have this. And after going between the 7th fret of the D string to the 7th fret of the G string twice, so you 7th fret, you go from the D, G, D, G, you then go into the second bit. So that piece coming from that run will sound like this. Then right there, you hammer on from the 7th fret of your G to the 9th fret of the G, and then pull back off to the 7th fret of the G. So you have this. And then right there, we hit the 7th fret of the D, G, and B strings like a D major chord again. And we do some strumming there, and to me it sounds like a down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 down kind of thing. Down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 down. And then right there we hit the 10th fret of the B string, pull off to the open string, okay? And that gets us into the part C. So this entire part B will sound like this. And that gets us into part C. Now do that with me. I'm going to do it a little bit slower. And that gets us into part C, but before we get to part C, I'm going to play through the entire solo for you. Time for part C. Part C starts with the 22nd fret of our B string. For me, that's the last fret of my guitar. We're going to bend that up a whole step. Okay, so we have that like right there. Then we go to the 19th fret of our high E to then the 21st fret of the high E. Okay, so you have this like, and then you bend the 21st fret up. And you bend that up like 3 times. Well, okay, so you bend it up twice, then you play it normally, then you bend it up again. So you're just like, bend it up one more time. And then what you do is you hammer on from the 19th up to the 21st. Back down, you pull back off to the 19th. So you have this like, do that with me. Okay, so then what you do is you have like a strike across the strings, and like a strike down, a strike up, really is what it is. And then what we do is we hit the 17th fret of our B string twice. And then we hit it a 3rd time, and this time we bend it up. Okay, so we have this like, then you bend that up one more time, hit the 15th fret of our B string to the 16th fret of the G to the 17th fret of the B. So you have this like, in that pattern. Okay, then right there what we do is we take the 15th fret of our B string and we bend it up slightly, hit the 17th fret of the B, so then you bend the 17th fret of your B string up, pull off to the 15th fret, and then the 16th fret of your G string twice. So you have this like, okay, do that with me. Then what we do is we hit the 14th fret of our G string to the 16th fret of the G, 14th fret of the D string, which you then slide down to the 12th fret, bend the 12th fret up a little bit, and and then you hit the 14th fret of the A. Like that. Then you slide up from the 14th fret of your G up to the 16th fret. Okay, so we have this so far. Then right there we hit the 15th fret of our B string to the 16th fret of the G pretty quickly. And you do that twice. And then you hit the 17th fret of your B string, bend the 17th fret of your B string up, pull it off to the 15th fret of your B, and then you hit the 16th fret. So you have this like... Then you hit the high E string, just open, so you have this like... Then you hit the 12th fret of your B string, you bend the 12th fret of your B string. So we have this. Then what we do is we hit the 12th fret again after you're done bending it up. So you bend it up, hit the 12th fret again, hit the 10th fret of your B string, then you hit the 9th fret of your G, open G string. So you have like, okay? Then, which is just pulling off from the 9th fret of your G string to the 7th fret of your G, hitting the 9th fret of your D, back up to the 7th fret of your G, 9th fret of the G, 7th fret of the G, 9th fret of your D, 7th fret of the D. So, okay, so we have like this. Okay. Do that with me one more time. Then what we do is we go from the 8th fret of the A string to the 7th fret of the A string to the 5th fret of the A string. So just like... Okay, now in context. And then right there, we have the same pattern that we had earlier with the chord, but it's on the D major chord again. And then you go up to the higher 3 string, so you just move it down a string. And then right there, we hit the 10th fret of the B to the 7th fret of the B, 9th fret of the G twice, the second time you're bending it up. Pull off to the 7th fret of your G, then the 9th fret of your D string twice, and that's it. So part C will sound like this. Now I'll play the entire solo for you. Play along with me. that, my friends, is how you play Comfortably Numb. If you have a song request, leave a comment. If you wish to be notified of future videos, hit that bell. I sincerely hope that you are well. Please do me a favor and hit that like button blue. I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe too. I hope this video has been a blessing. You've been watching Logan's Lessons.